start the process. We're going to, I'm going to do the invocation, and then we're actually going to do a meditation together. For those of you, I see some of you in the car. Don't drive and do this meditation, but just be here with us energetically. There's a lot of essays and things that are coming in, and just people in my general life that I know, a lot of negativity that we have to dispel before we go forward. So everybody just get in a nice, comfortable position that you can get yourself into. Focus on your breath and relax. Dear Mother, Father, God, creator of all things, Iru Sophia, I ask you to attend this session, allowing your words, your thoughts, your divine love and light, your grace, your wisdom, your knowledge, to speed through each and every one of us. Allow us to know you on the deepest level so that we too can emanate the light and be the grace personified in your wisdom and your divine love. I ask the archangels of the four directions to attend this session, holding the sacred space for this gathering. Michael, primarily you first and foremost, to protect us and guide us, keeping all who do not belong at bay, keeping any negative thoughts, any fear-based thoughts away from this gathering, and only allowing us to transform everything into love. I ask Raphael, divine healer of God, to bring in all of your healing energy of peace and joy and love. I ask Gabriel from the north to please bring your clarity of messages and your wisdom. I ask Uriel from the south to bring in your divine love and light, letting us each and every one know that we are divine sparks of God. We are the children of today and the children of tomorrow. I ask that our mission be blessed, and this, our August 22nd gathering, be guided by the truest divine spark of light. And so it is, and so we are, and so it shall be. I ask now everyone in attendance to, if you can, focus on your breath, feeling that divine gift of light coming in through your nose, filling your being, and then out through your mouth. As you breathe in, know you're breathing in divine love and light. You're breathing in angelic energy and the wisdom of the all. Allow it to cleanse and purge anything that's been holding you back in these last couple weeks. And with every exhale, release just a little bit of that stress, that anxiety, any doubts, any fears, any negative thoughts. Breathe in the light and the love, positive thoughts, loving thoughts, and breathe out any fear-based thoughts, anything that has held you back. And continue to focus on your breath as I bring in some spirits of release. With the power of the vibration of the drum, I commend all negative energy, anything that has been affecting anyone in this gathering, anyone in their families, in their peripheral community, to the fires the archangels hold, the cleansing fires, purging all energy that does not belong and transforming it to either neutrality or positive energy, to the love and the light of the divine energy of the Creator. I'd like you all, if you can, if you're in a position to do so, to feel the vibration coming from your hands and place it on any chakra of your body that is in need of energy. Breathing in and pulling that energy from your hands into those chakras. And as you breathe out, know that anything that does not serve you from this point on, be carried away by the archangels in the divine fire and cleansing urns. Pull in the light, pull in the peace, and most of all, pull in the joy, releasing all else that does not serve you. And so it is, and so we are, and so it shall be from this moment forward. Start to bring your breathing back to normal. And when you're ready, and at a time that's perfectly correct for you, you can bring your awareness back into the meeting, opening your eyes. And welcome into the space. So, Lady Mara, I have...
Your video has been freezing up every so often, so we'll just monitor as we go.
Did I lose you again? Because I can't... Oh, there you are. Okay. Yeah, let's see what happens. My apologies if this doesn't work. If something happens and you can't see me, I think what I can do is probably do a video. Can you log in with that computer for me? I'm gonna have a backup. Can you still hear me, Mara?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just your video has been freezing up.
Okay.
Off and on, and it didn't detract from the meditation at all, I don't think.
Okay. All right. Perfect. For some reason, I can't get the chat right now. It's all spinning. Michaela, log into Facebook on your computer, my Facebook, and let me see if I can get the Zoom up. Okay, so a lot of your essays this week, from both sides, talked about very strained issues in everyone's lives. I mean, I'm talking not just the normal, stuff that people are having problems with, but a lot of pretty serious family disruptions and friend disruptions. So a lot of negativity creeping in, which is kind of fascinating to me. I know that Mercury went retrograde or turned back direct on the 19th. And I really felt like life was going to be perfect after that. But we still had a lot of issues. I don't know if anyone else felt that, but it certainly was difficult for me because the messages still weren't coming clear. Mara, can you hear me? Because I lost you.
Yeah, you're here. I can hear you, and we don't have your video, but we have a beautiful Merkaba image, so that works.
That's probably what's coming through right now. That's all good. Okay, so what I found interesting in reading the essays, is Elaine here? Elaine's not here, is she? Do you see her anywhere?
Not yet, I don't believe.
She and I were having a little private conversation about things that were going on in energetic the last couple weeks. And then several of the essays had this same thing. This particular week, there's a lot of stuff going down astrologically. For example, on Sunday is the full moon, and the sun is in Virgo, or in opposition to the moon in Pisces. So this Virgo Pisces polarity is focusing on service to others, which of course we are, but it also is emphasizing balance in our lives. And the balance, specifically because of this alignment in the planets, is really taking us to task to get our house in order, our home in order, and our spirituality. So we have to balance the two together and not go one-sided on either way. Because when that happens, then we personally get thrown off balance. You know, like a lot of people, I want to bring Sean into the mix if she's here in a little bit to talk about what's going on in her family, because she kind of exemplifies this stress that people are having in the periphery. Did you get me? Can you log into that Zoom for me? I might switch computers in a minute if Michaela gets me up in her thing. But I want to read something to you, which I thought was fascinating too. And again, this has to do with something that Elaine and I were talking about. The sun is in some kind of quincunx to Chiron, and it emphasizes doubting ourselves and our effectiveness, as well as guilt for not facing important issues, which can, ultimately undermine our confidence, obviously, under this particular influence that's going on right now. And our self-expression can be choppy and unnatural as a result. And the reason why it's choppy and unnatural is because we're getting all of these doubt seeds that are coming in, and we're not allowing it to flow. Did it go? Do you have it up? Hold on a minute.
Yep, she has it up, and I've got it renamed for you, so we're ready to go.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. There's my drum. Okay, can I have that? Yay. All right.
Thank you, Michaela. Our kids are amazing with the work that they can do with the technology.
Let me see. Can you take this computer for me, Boo? Can you take that computer? Okay. All right, just get out of there.
Perfect.
Can you close the whole thing off?
So I can actually just turn it off for her.
There we go. Bear with me, guys. Just close it. There we go, all the way. There we go. Now, can you hear me now?
Yep, perfect. And we can see you.
I can't hear you. Why can't I hear you? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you say something, because I can't hear you?
I'm talking and they can all hear me. Everybody can hear me, right?
All right. Okay. Hold on.
Just put on a headset, perhaps. It's somebody saying that the people have been having problems hearing one another. So this is really a perfect metaphor or example of that.
Now say something.
Can you hear me now?
I still can't hear you. Again?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes. Oh, are we sure Mercury's not retrograde?
It's the shadow period, but I will tell you, since I've let go of worrying about that and assuming that it's all perfect, Lady Elaine taught me that if this is perfect, then there's nothing that we just gently figure out how to make this work.
It's totally good. Yeah, it's just a little challenge. That's all. It's all good.
Yep.
Okay. So let's see. So I talked about what's going on in the atmosphere. I'm going to actually put up a little astrological document later on in both classroom spaces, so that you guys can check in and see what's happening in your life as opposed to what's actually going on there. So you have a little bit of validation, you have a little bit of basis on why things are happening, and then from there you can adjust. It really does help. It's like, it's almost like, okay, I'm not going crazy, the atmosphere is crazy, it's okay. And it helps you bring yourself back into alignment when you know these things are happening. So and it also helps to know that everybody else is going through these things as well. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about before we go forward, for the people who were on 21 and 22, there were very few of you who commented in your essays that you actually did go back and review all of the first 20 lessons. So raise your hand if you actually did that. Okay, all right. I'd like Doc to talk about it, his experience, because I can't emphasize enough that, you know, when we're talking about these lessons and everybody being on the same page, just being connected to this group, even if you're not doing anything, is going to help your elevation. But that person that's here, that's just here holding on and not participating or not doing the lessons, say, as everybody else is holding back the elevation of the group. It's almost like having a sandbag on a hot air balloon. If everybody moved forward at the same exact rate, doing everything that the book says, and I know that that's difficult because life comes at us and we can't do that, but if we're intending to do our best and do as much as we can as a group, there's no limit to where we can go. And I think you've seen in the past several weeks, the elevation has just really exponentially taken off, especially with what Lady Joy has done. I mean, she and I texted at one point and I said, can you imagine if just everyone in the group had the opportunity to be on a television show like that and to say, here. I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but when he took that stone and he did this to the camera, I just got these chills that were unbelievable. It was just, oh my gosh. Do you know how many people just saw that? It was like mind-blowing. You know, so again, opportunities are going to rise. I mean, it came to her in a different way than maybe we thought it was going to, but guess what? She took it and ran with it, and it was amazing. So those kind of things can happen to each and every one of us. Elaine, you missed what I just said earlier about the sun in a quincux with Chiron, focusing on doubting ourselves. You're gonna rewind this later and review that, but I'm gonna send it to you too. It's pretty fascinating. It's exactly what we were just talking about. Okay, so while I'm babbling, I'm gonna go ahead and call on Doc and give us your experience with your review of the 20 lessons.
I, as with most things, I listen to the meditation and I read the meditation, and I fully intended each day to read a couple lessons, back lessons like 1, 2, and 3, and you know, as you said earlier, life got in the way and I didn't, and I procrastinated. And when I would review the day and realize I hadn't done what I intended to do, I wasted time. I could have certainly made time to read those back lessons. So something was really prompting me. And over the weekend, I read the first 10 and then I read the second 10. And I was blown away by my involvement in the lessons. It was like I was drawn in, literally. I've never experienced this before. Like I was in another place reading the lessons. And what they said to me was, this is how far you've come. Had you chosen not to do this, you would not have the greater understanding from rereading them. They spoke to me in a whole different way. I was just blown away because I really didn't think I was going to do it. And then all of a sudden I just did it. And I just can't emphasize enough, you guys, you're doing yourself such a disservice, as I almost did to myself, if you don't reread those, because they're going to be a barometer for how far you've come. You're going to see things you never imagined in there. You think you know what's there. I thought I knew what was there. I mean, you know, I read it. I did it for 2 weeks. Why do I need to read it again? Wow. Was I ever wrong? Was I ever wrong? Just like when Sophia said, listen to the lessons and read the lessons. Listen to the lessons and read the lessons. And again, my ego, well, if I listen, if I read, what's it? Why I do both? Wrong. They speak to me in a whole different way. So I just wanted to share that because I don't want anybody to miss that opportunity, because I almost did. And I don't want to see you guys miss that. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thanks, Doc. Yeah, I can confirm this, and you guys have heard me say this since the beginning of the classes, that in the years that I have taken the classes myself and the years that I have taught the classes, I've probably could recite most of the lessons, but I still listen to them and I still read them. And when I do, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I'm always picking up something new, or it's speaking to me at a totally different level than I ever comprehended before. Now, I believe this time around, the reason why it's so exponentially off the charts is because we have so many dedicated people doing it at exactly the same time, during the same 2-week period, doing the same things during that 2-week period. So energetically, my mind is connected to all of your minds, to that one mind that's doing this process. So it's creating an even greater understanding than we ever had when it first started. So like anything else, it's like me saying, I want to be on the Olympic team for soccer. Well, that's all well and good, but I'm not getting there by sitting on the couch not practicing. So these lessons are practice. And this practice is rewiring our brains. And it really totally is fascinating when you go back and you look at how far you've come, what other tidbits of energy or information come through to you now as opposed to when you read the first one. How many months ago? I do have to share something that happened in my life this past week. I was on vacation with my grandchildren and Michaela, and my oldest grandson is having a little blip with, I really don't know what to call it. Anger issues, depression, whatever you want to call it. He's like almost 12 years old. But in me having to deal with him and help him, I was given the greatest gift I have been given in quite a long time. Now, I know that all of you out there who are parents, or all of you out there who have dealt with people, there are times in our lives when the pressure builds, and instead of staying calm and collected, we happen to explode. Like, why'd you do that? And then after that comes out of our mouth that way, we sit back and regret that explosion. So the awareness that we exploded is one thing. We go through that level. And then there's years after doing that, we think about the regret, why we did that, why we have to go there, why'd we yell at the kids, why we yell at our partner, why'd we yell at our boss or our dog, whoever it is. That's another level of awareness. But the level of awareness that he gave me this week was what happens before we explode. He told me that right before he loses it, he gets anxiety in his stomach. There's something that he's afraid of. Something comes over him that he doesn't process very well. And it's almost like that, he didn't use this term, but it's almost like the straw that breaks the camel's back. Some teeny tiny little thing will happen and he explodes. So he gave me this gift of awareness of what happens prior to the explosion. I mean, we all kind of know that there's so much coming at us all at once that we know that there's an overload and we know we can't take it anymore. I mean, how many parents out there have been down that road where the kids are just driving you nuts and you just, right? Okay, but he gave me this insight to the what happens beforehand. Now, maybe you've all been there and have that insight already. He gave me his insight, which led to my insight, which leads me to the insight of most all of your essays had some thread of problems. And I don't know how many of you saw the video that I posted today, or I think I shared a video to one of the Facebook pages about that woman who was in line at a drive-through. Did you guys see that? Okay. What'd she say? I mean, yeah, she wanted to explode. She wanted to jump out the car and punch her in the throat, right? Only for a second. And then she realized, hey, she must be going through something. You know, and this realization is what we really have to take hold of. Now, that woman in that video, she paid homage to the fact that she once thought she was going to end her life. She also lost her parents, and she's had a lot of conflict in her life. So she honors those things as giving her the insight for her to be able to see other people's pain, or at least say, I don't know what's going on, but something must be for them to do that. So she's been given a great gift. And this is where I expressed to my grandson that he gave me a great gift, because all of his issues are a gift not only to him, I mean, he can't see that gift right now, but I wanted him to know he gave me a gift. Because through this discord, it's actually that grit in the tumbler, in the rock tumbler, that's polishing off my edges so that I can shine brighter. And I invite all of you to start looking at all of the tension and all of the grit in your life that same way. Don't just see the surface. Don't just see that so-and-so at work is a pain in my rear end, or this person is really plucking my nerves, or my kids are doing this. I invite you to look deeper, especially with your children. Because we assume that these kids know that they're wonderful the way we know they're wonderful. But their little processing centers are totally different than ours. They're not mature, and they do not understand. They understand differently than we do, and some of them understand a little better than we do, but their processing centers are still processing at the age that they are with the perceptions and the experience that they've had thus far. Remember, they're new souls. There are very few old souls that are being born right now that are coming in with that wisdom. Yes, they have the guides around them, but they're still processing at that new soul level. So just be mindful for that. And then, wait a minute, where is Sean Duncan here? Sean, I'm going to have you open your mic, because I think that exactly what you're going through, exactly what you just described in your essay, It's happening at an older age. But I think that what I just expressed really, really needs to be worked through in your family. You need to, well, this is what I did with Gabe. Instead of addressing him exploding, I went over to him and I held his face in my hands. And I said, I see you. I'm here for you. You don't need my attention that way. What's happening? What are you feeling right now? Know you're loved, whether I'm physically here right now or not. I will forever and always be in your presence, and I'm here for you. But this touch and that center groundness pulled, you could see his energy come straight down. And he immediately felt the love and my presence. Now, this can happen at any age. Any age. I don't care if you're 78 or you're 3 years old. We all need that. Instead of the acting out, the anger, the beating up, whether you're beating somebody up with your words, your energy, or physically beating somebody up, if you just go over there and recognize them, and if you can touch them and transfer the energy, it transforms them. If only for that moment. You gotta keep doing it. So go ahead.
When I got her home that night,
well, they don't all know.
The backstory is my stepdaughter had a manic episode on Sunday and beat up her whole dad's family, including grandmother. She's 14 years old. We've been dealing with this since she was probably about 2 years old. And we went over there, things got heated. We managed to get her home. And while I was in the kitchen, I had an overwhelming sense to just look at her. Even though I was angry, I just knew I had to tell her, I'm glad she's here. She's out of that position where she was. She was safe. And let's not go there right now, because her brother started bringing it up, people started bringing it up, and I just wanted to diffuse it and say, let's sit down and have dinner, let's just talk. And she kind of was very antsy still, and I just turned to her and I said, I'm so happy you're here and you're safe. I want you to be here and safe. And it seemed like a switch went off on her, because for 3 days now, we haven't had one issue. I've been going to my altar praying every single chance I get. I actually put number 159 on. I was just called to go and reach one off of one I had, and I put it on her, and I wrote her name down and put some crystals on, and I put that on, and then something said, well, look who that is, like, come on, I'm trying to give you these things to help you. And so I'm like, okay, so I grabbed my papers full of my notes of all the angels, and it came to be that, it was an angel of repentance and forgiveness and, warding off against evil and all this other stuff. And I just broke down. Sorry.
Oh, perfect.
And it was just beautiful, because I knew at that moment she was protected, and that's all I wanted for her. And now the past 2 days, I've been walking by her just waiting for her explosion. Nothing. I love you. Thank you. She came and apologized to me, which she hasn't apologized to me since she hit me 2 months ago when she left. So it came out. She was like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for what I did to everyone. And I don't know what's going on, but I just want to ask for forgiveness. So, and it brought me back to 159, and I was like, oh my goodness. It was just amazing to watch, and it still is. What was that?
What day did this happen?
The 159 placing, it happened, or when the beating happened. was Sunday.
Sunday, and when did you place the 159?
Monday, after I got out of work, because all day I was thinking at work, and I'm like, what do? I feel like giving up. I don't want to go home tonight. I don't want to have to deal with it. Can I just run away? I'm like, oh my gosh, I just don't know how to deal with this anymore. I have 31 years of parenting under my belt. I thought I had it, down packed,
You know what's really amazing is I shared this with Doc when I got home today. My daughter, Gabe's mom, came home last night because I've been up in Pennsylvania with them for the past 2 days. And she walked through the door, she started cleaning, and I look at her and I said, what's going on? I could see right through her what's going on. And she said, I leave work and I start to cry. I cry all the way home and I don't want to come home. And then I say, why me? Why do I have a kid this way? And I said, why not you? Why not? You're the perfect one to deal with it. And you and all parents out there, I'm 56. I had my first two when I was 18 and 19. And I didn't have Michaela till I was 44. It's kind of like my second time around. Well, it is my second time around. But at a wiser stage. But when I had the first two, I was busy and my ex was busy trying to survive. You have to go to work every day. You got to deal with the world every day. And then you have to come home and you have the responsibility of these children. You do not have the energy left in your cup to be able to recognize what's going on. So most of the time, if there's a problem, we're not picking up on it. We are not picking up on the subtle signs. Because on surface, each little subtle sign could be rationalized away as, oh, it's a bratty kid, or they're having an issue, or oh, they're not sharing with their brother. But if you take all those little teeny tiny signs and you make a list on a piece of paper, all of a sudden, pattern and an issue. So you are not alone in the fact that it is wearing. It wore on me this past week, but I did exactly what you did. Gabriel lost it on the Ascension Day. It was the 15th. Actually, it started on the Monday. That's why I asked you. He was driving in a car and he heard this song. Michaela, what's the name of that song? A song called Logic. Anybody hear that song called Logic? Anybody know Logic? No? Okay. It is apparently a song that they created for suicide prevention, but it talks about somebody committing suicide and losing their mind. He heard it 3 times in the car ride down here, and it was looping in his head. So it started the process. And exactly what you said he was going through, and he's not too many years different than her. So something is buzzing in the atmosphere for them to feel this pent up feeling. He's also extremely psychic. He sees things happening before they do, and he doesn't understand that. So I'm sure that that's part of what your stepdaughter is going through as well. She's a different kind of kid. I can't hear you.
She's been seeing spirits since she was probably about 3 or 4. They followed her around a lot, and so sometimes, we'll do sagings together and make sure she's protected. There was one little girl that followed her for a few years, and then she left.
Does she have a crystal?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I ordered, because Sir Edward said to get her number 45 bell crystal to use every time, they would come. So I'm waiting for that. So I'm hoping that will, really help her.
It sounds like we have twin spirits going on here, because I gave Gabe a bell crystal, and what calms him is he's shaking that bell. He'll shake it over whatever chakra is off the charts. And
Monday night, I showed her the 159 crystal I placed on her card in front of my altar, and she just smiled and was just, it changed her. I don't know how it did, because, you know, even her dad can't believe it right now, but I'm just hoping it's not the honeymoons period again, you know.
You know, you're going to have a roller coaster. I'm not going to lie to you. I did the same thing once. Gabe was rocking back and forth in the bed and totally, I mean, sobbing, and it was a total mess. After he fell asleep, I put 4 crystals in the corner of the mattress. I put 1 on each corner of the mattress, and then I took the number 45 that I had with me, stuck it in the middle of the bed. I really didn't care if he rolled on it or not. I'm like, roll on that baby. You know? And in the morning, the kid transformed. And then all 3 of us, Michaela and his brother and I, we did a Reiki session on him to seal the deal. And since then, there's been a change. So I wanted you to share your story, because I shouldn't be, but I was really shocked at how the parallels of your story and what I just went through this past week. And then there are a few other little blips with other essays of people that having similar, you know, stuff. But I just want you to know that it's all going to be okay. We're working in that direction as the one mind. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let me get my other notes here. Bruce, is Bruce here? Would you like to share your experience with your sacred space and how you've been doing that for a long time?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. As you read in my essay, I've been a musician for a very long time. And when I initially, the first time I ever played out in public was at my elementary school graduation. We actually put a band together for that. And my first experience out in front of people, I was absolutely terrified. And going down the road away, a number of years, I had to find some way of kind of creating my own mental space where I could I was trying to deal with the fear. It was just the fear of being out in front of people and being judged. And I had a really hard time with that initially when I was young. And I had to create a place inside of myself that I could go to that was just totally accepting, totally calm, no judgment, no fear. And I actually started doing just that, creating my own sacred space so that I could get past the fear of standing in front of a group of people. And as time went on, junior high school, I'd already developed that space inside of myself. And as I said in my essay, a lot of times I perform, a lot of times when I'm playing my guitar, my eyes are closed. That's not something that, management liked very well, because they like you, out there, making eye contact with people and things like that. But I realized, just a couple of years ago that I'm an empath. I didn't realize why I was so fragmented in my thinking, because when I was looking out into people, I was actually reading them. And that was such a distraction from what I was supposed to be doing that a lot of times I would just get lost with all of that. And it was very hard for me to focus. So creating that space inside of myself, I could go there and just relax, and there would be no fear. I wouldn't be picking up anybody's feelings or anything else like that. What I tried to do when I play my guitar in front of people is I try to just be conduit from, the universe to whoever's in the room, and I just try to get out of my own way and just create in the moment type of thing. I never play the same guitar solo twice. It's always a work in progress. And I find it much easier to get into that space and just let go and be totally at peace and totally at home. And I like I said in my essay, I've done that for decades, and I've gotten to the point now where I can perform with my eyes open, but I'm not looking people in the eyes. I'm looking like just over the top of their head. So, it doesn't appear that I'm ignoring them, which I'm not, but I'm not connecting, psychically with them either, which, works for me, because in that time, in that space, I've got to be, performance level. I can't be reading everyone's feelings and things. It's just too distracting. So, when I read about the lesson, I started doing that, and then I realized, wait a minute, I've been doing that for years. And it just was really comfortable. So it's very easy for me to do that. And I've already got that space worked out. It's beautiful. I don't know what else you'd like me to say about it, but
that's a phenomenal testimony for a lot of reasons. Number one, when you're in that space, you've blocked out everyone else. But what fascinates me by what you said was you are physically still present with all of these people.
Yeah.
But when you close your eyes, you're not there.
Exactly.
There. But so you've already made that pattern and connection to go inward into that sacred space.
Yes.
So it appears to me, from what I've heard you saying and where you're going with it, you've almost gotten to the point that you can be, well, you are, your eyes are open and you're still in that space. And I see you not too far down the future being able to make eye contact and still be in that space. It's almost like what I've been telling everybody with the progressive relaxation. Once you practice it enough,
yeah,
you can say progressive relaxation and the whoosh comes over. So you've been practicing this for decades now. And now that you have this heightened level of awareness about it, you should be able to, it's almost like bilocation. Okay?
Yeah.
Bilocating. You're physically there and you're interacting, but yet you're somewhere else. And that's the true meaning of the sacred space, because no one can mess with you there. And no one can come in. You don't invite them there. It's yours and yours alone, and yours to do with what you need to do. So that's a phenomenal testimony. So thank you, Bruce. I really appreciate you sharing that with us.
Absolutely. I appreciate you asking about that. I've found that recently I can be walking down the street and be, like you say, physically there, but I'm in my own sacred space inside of myself, and it's you're right, bilocating. It's almost like I'm in two places at the same time, which feels kind of weird, but I'm getting more accustomed to it, and it's a beautiful space to be in, because, like you say, nobody can reach me there. Things don't upset me. I can't be affected by the drama, that somebody else in my physical space would be trying to, draw me into. They can't draw me in there, and I won't bring them into my space either. So, that is spot on.
And you will find that in later lessons and the missions that we go on together as a group, you're going to be walking down the road and you're going to be called to your sacred space, or you're going to be called out to a mission with the angels, and you're going to be doing that bilocation in a different way. That's why we talked about the missions where we'd be walking down the street with our sun wands. There will be a time when we have to do that. So and this is why we're practicing this. This is why we're trying to hone our mental, not so much mental capacity, but the control of the thoughts in order to push the button wherever it is in our being and say, go there, relax, get on with it. Okay. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. We had some really awesome experiences with the crystals. I really think that a lot of what we're also going through is you had all this beautiful light shining and going out into the world, and then some of the reverb from the fear-based thoughts from other people surrounding those people have started to kind of push back. But think about it for a minute. Take everybody in the group who participated with the crystals and everybody who participated with their thoughts, and times that by 8, because we all gave out 8. Those, however many it is, if it was let's just say if it was 20 of us, that's 160 crystals in places all around the world. Those 160 crystals just didn't touch one person that it was given to. It touched everybody in the vicinity. So we are affecting this change, and the shift has begun. And then I want to go back to seeing that crystal on the television screen from the reporter with Lady Joy. How many people saw that? I don't care if they didn't get the same feeling I got when I saw it. They saw something. Especially when he said, "What's that symbol mean?" And Lady Joy explained it. It's just fascinating. I mean, it's all very exciting, and just as exciting and as joyful as what happened with those crystals and Joy's experience. And each one of you who wrote these beautiful things, from Nancy's partner Sam, who saved a man who had a heart attack, to all the different things along the line. Those are beautiful. And so are the things that we just discussed, like Sean and I went through. They're beautiful. They are just pure joy. We have to start seeing those as these things that are part of our expression of life and what we have pledged ourselves to come and do. We are that light, and we have to shine our light in those dark spaces sometimes. So how joyful is it to be given that opportunity to be able to do that, instead of these people who are oblivious and they don't know what's going on. So we do have to thank and be grateful for all the opportunities we have. Okay, let's see. Roya's here. Would you be interested in sharing your meditation, or is it private? Do you want to not share that?
No, it's okay. I can share. It's
Okay.
so funny. Right before you called me, I had this gut feeling that you were going to call me right before. That's so funny. So I hope I don't get emotional, but I did the
release process. When don't hold those things down. I encourage all of you. I'm sure there will be times you'll see me cry or laugh or whatever. These are releases in your very safe space. Everyone here loves you. So allow us that. You're giving us a gift. If you cry, if you have to, please feel free. We would love to honor that for you.
Thank you. I love you all too. So basically I started the meditation. I was very excited for it because it said, go to your happy memories, and yeah, some sad too. And that was okay. And then when it said to go to that painful memory, I went straight to a memory of when I was 16, I was working at McDonald's, and I got, the police officer came inside and asked for me by name. Nervous, I followed him outside, and he said, and then right when I go outside, I see my dad behind the police car. And I see his eyes, they're bloodshot, just red. And I'm like, oh God, he's drunk again. And I see him there, he's crying. And the police asked, he said, that's your father? I said, yes, that's my dad. And he said, have you ever seen him like this? I said, I lied to him. And I said, no, I have never seen him like this. And he said that, he went inside wanting to buy alcohol. He was refused to, he was basically kicked out of Albertsons. And right before, so I was shocked. I didn't even know what to say. I'm a 16-year-old. And right while I'm interacting with the police officer, our neighbor drives by, and he's this wonderful man who we're friends with. And he said, he drove by with his son, and he stepped out of the car, and he recognized me and my dad right away. And he said, is everything okay? And I told him what happened. And he right away told the police officer. He was actually well-known guy in the community. He's a very respected guy, and he's very involved with the politics and community and all that. So he said, I know that man. He's a well-respected man, and my dad is, when he's not drinking, he has a bipolar personality. He's just so different when he drinks than when he's not. So he said, I've never seen this guy drunk. He has a good family. I'll take him home if that's okay. So the police let him go and said, okay, you have the responsibility to take him home. And our neighbor, he says, okay, you can go back to work, Roya. It's fine. I'll take care of him. I thanked him. I went inside. And everybody shocked asked me, like, what happened? Why was the police there? We're all young kids from high school, we're all in the same high school. I lied to them. I said that it was a friend who knew that I was working here and asked for me. He was getting arrested for being drunk. I denied my dad. I did not say it was my dad. And I guess this memory was the most painful memory of me. I've had other memories of him being drunk which were painful, but this was the most embarrassing, I believe. And just seeing him like that, defeated, and everything else too. And so right after right when that memory came, I was just crying during the meditation. I've never cried during meditation. The tears were just flowing, but I was smiling at the same time during this memory. It was so amazing and just surreal. And it was just flowing. It was crazy. I couldn't stop it.
Why do you think you had the tears and the smiling at the same time?
Because I had a knowing that it was going away, and that pain was going to go away from my heart finally, after all these years. I'm 31 years old now. This was when I was 16. I've been carrying it that long. And me alone, I was the only one of his children that saw him in that state, behind a police car. In my culture, that's like the worst thing. I mean, it's really bad in every culture, but for us, we're just so into respect and, our elders and all that. It's so important. And that was a big deal for me to see. And right when it says to go into the ocean and let the light enter you, it was so beautiful, because I felt that heaviness that was in my heart during the memory. It just, right when the light was entering me in my mind's eye, and that heaviness was just melting away while it was entering me. And I haven't felt this light and happy in a very long time. It was so beautiful. It was very powerful and healing meditation for me with that memory.
It's interesting what everything that was coming through while you're discussing that, and what came through while I read your essay was not only did you release that, you saw it from a different level of understanding. And it wasn't just about your dad. It was you actually healed from the guilt and I'm not going to say lying, but the less than honest responses that you had, because you carried that with you.
I did.
That's that repercussion of having something like that in your life happen, especially with a family member that we all carry with us. And so it's not just about what they did to us or what they did to themselves. We carry this shame and this guilt, and it's not ours. And we should never be made to feel that way.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. I am so grateful for everything that you guys have done for us. I mean, I can't even put in words of how much this group has changed my life. You and Sir Edward and the angels. It's just beautiful. And everybody around me is benefiting from it. My family, you know, it's amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And, you know, it's interesting. You also brought up something about the culture and how you were raised. And like you said, everybody has culture. I just finished reading a book called Educated. Has anyone heard of that book called Educated? No? Okay. I'm not going to recommend it because if the empaths in us, it was a very difficult read. But it is a good book and it gives great insight. The woman's name is Tara Westfeld. She was a woman who was raised in Mormon culture, but not only in the Mormon culture or the religion, but also with a survivalist mother and father, with a father who is paranoid schizophrenic. And the programming, it is actually a perfect example to the nth degree of the programming we go through with our culture, whether it's just family and education, but it's just an absolute perfect example of what we go through and how difficult it is to get out.
Yeah.
And that it is up to us and only us. We can't let anyone else block our progress. We have to just keep pushing forward. And this is why all of you are here. You're all here and you're drawn to the light of this group, of this message, of this mission, to clear yourself first and foremost, and then vibrate out what it is we need to do. Now, a lot of us came to the table thinking we were clear, and we were, but you can always keep clearing, just like you can always keep learning.
Yeah.
That you learn until the day you die. So that very last day, you are constantly pulling stuff in. So again, you know, if anybody is interested in it, again, it's called Educated, Tara Westfeld. If you have the time, and if you are an empath, you might want to, you know, put up some boundaries first before you read it. But anyway, thank you again, Roya, and congratulations to the little one's first day of school. I saw that.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
So adorable. Okay, so now that we've gone through a bunch of the essays, I want to just make sure anyone has any from lesson 11. Does anybody have any questions or any remarks that they want to make about lesson 11 before I go on any further? Just raise your hand so I can see any change. Or no, nobody. Okay. I thought it was really interesting that a lot of you had on the West Coast how synchronistic this lesson was to the wildfires. And if I can remember back to when the first group went through this lesson, didn't we have something? I think we had a snowstorm or something, didn't we? It was something that it was also pertinent that we had to deal with our survival kit. Okay, so same lesson. Now lesson 12, I don't know if any of you have opened it, but my computer was really, really glitchy yesterday when I was uploading everything. So if you did any kind of opening or uploading from midnight to about 10 this morning, you may want to revisit it because I changed a lot, because things went up there that were incorrect. So go back and look at it. Okay, does anybody have any questions about lesson 12? No? Okay. All right, let's move on to lesson 21. We already touched on the fact that I didn't put it in the instruction document, but I did, you know, obviously have you read that you should, once you get to lesson 21, the Hierophant had recommended to Sir Edward that he go back and review those first 20 lessons. So whenever there's something in the written lesson that I don't specifically say in our instructions document, you should try to follow that, or at least review it. Does anybody have any more questions or comments on the 20 lessons and that experience? No? went over the secret space. Okay, so the next lesson for the group 1 is all about the chakras and clearing the chakras. And I thought it very interesting that I believe it was Lady Alexandria. Didn't you post 2 files about, one was the avatar clearing, the opening and the clearing of the chakras? Did you do that? No? Who did that on the page? Oh, Jennifer. You did it? No, you didn't do it? Somebody did it. Anyway, it's all about that. Let me see who. No? I guess I didn't write that down. I just thought it fascinating because somebody posted 2 links about chakra clearing, and this is what this lesson's all about. Now, what I've decided to do, I've gone outside the norm a little bit for this lesson, and you have 7 meditations. They're only like 3.5 minutes apart, or I mean, long. And there's an intro of my voice telling you about what you need to do. And then each day after you've gone through week 1, so starting on next Wednesday, you'll listen to 1 meditation a day, only 3.5 minutes. And you're going to start at the crown and then go to the root. Do not start at the root and go to the crown. Start at the crown and go to the root. The meditations that you're going to listen to are the frequency of the sound emitting from the chakra. This is an audio that I got my hands on way back in, I'm going to say 1998, 1999. I received it from Rosalind Bruyer's Wheels of Light, her student Arlen Klein. It was a study done at UCLA where they took, and I may not have the right name for this thing, but if my memory serves me, it's an electron microphone. They did a series of clients or patients or people who wanted to be in the study who came in, and the first thing they did was clear them, ground them, and get them percolating perfectly from toenail to tip of the head. And then they recorded with this microphone over top of the chakra at the edge of the aura, wherever it was on that person. They recorded these sounds. The fascinating part was everybody's frequency was exactly the same. So if they had the microphone over my chakra at the root and over Elaine's and Mara's and everybody's here, the frequency, once they had cleared them and grounded them, the vibration of that sound coming out of that chakra was exactly the same person to person. Furthermore, the same frequency and vibration that the color corresponding to the chakra was. It was an unbelievable study. And all of this, except for the audio you're going to hear, all of this that I'm telling you is from my memory of the class I took. I looked the past couple weeks in preparation for this class. I scoured the internet trying to find this study and trying to find the audio version because I wanted the easy way out and just pull the audio in and plop it in for you guys instead of having to re-record everything from what I have in my possession. I couldn't find it anywhere. I mean, I did find there's a doctor out there who was mentioned in the study, but I'm probably going to have to go back into my notes from when I took the chakra balancing classes back in the late 90s, and maybe there's some sort of documentation there on exactly the person's name who did it. But it is really fascinating. And when you listen to these, you will feel the vibration in each chakra. So the instruction that I gave you, once again, was to start at the crown and go down. But but say you're listening to the crown chakra and you feel vibration someplace else in your body. Make sure you have a journal next to you and document all of that, because there's a reason for it. Some of the sounds are very kind of like, I'm going to frankly, I'm just going to say they're irritating. Some of them are irritating. It's just a frequency. It's like listening to static on a radio. But you can feel the shift in your body in those chakras because of it. Okay? So just bear with it, and please read through the documentation and do it as directed. Okay? Now, does anybody have any questions about that? I saw a hand up. Jennifer, you had your hand up a while ago. Did you have a question? No? Okay. All right. Any other questions? No? I don't see any hands. How about you, Mara? Are you seeing anything at all? Oh, Mary. Mary? No? No, who? You're pointing down. Can you open your thing, Mary?
I think it's July.
Oh.
Right?
Is she, July, are you asking? Okay, open your microphone. She's this way next to you, not down.
July, I unmuted you.
Oh, okay. My question is, in your instructions, you had a video of an audio of the instructions, and I couldn't open it. Do you mean that you have a Word document about the instructions on the chakra?
Anybody else tried to open it? No? It should be. I'll go back in and check it. Yes, there's an instruction audio, because I didn't want to, I sent you all out an email saying my computer's having issues. Okay, so what happens when I'm recording right now, you're getting this white noise from my computer making some kind of crazy whatever noise. So I wanted to not make it too annoying for you. I only made one instruction intro of me telling you what to do, breathing, get your progressive relaxation in. And then once you've heard that, then starting on the days that you're going to go ahead and do each chakra, you're just going to go into that chakra because you already have the instructions in your head. You'll know what you have to do. You follow me with that?
Yeah, when I opened it, the video said, the audio said error. And I don't know, maybe it was just because I tried to open it today and it said error on the instructions.
Okay, so Sarah just did it, said it's working on her phone. I'll recheck it. Just check it again and see.
Okay. All right.
But I did say in the document, please go from the crown and go down. And I do highly recommend, I know I say that, read the document instruction or the instructions document thoroughly, because I change things as we go along. So read that thoroughly each time you open it up, because it's going to have a question in there. It's going to have different instructions for the different week. So things change. So definitely read that instruction document. Okay. Did someone else have their hand up, Mara? No?
No, I was also just checking to see if the file extension was maybe different. I mean, I know, Lady Sophia, you did those recordings on a different device this time, I think, so it could just be that.
Okay.
Try again, July.
Yeah, I think that'll work. But yeah, I just have patience with me over the next couple weeks until I can sort out the. Actually, now that
Okay, I'll try after the.
Okay. Could you remute yourself now, because I can hear there we go, got it. So yeah, again, patience until we get everything sorted out with the computer. Okay, let me look here one more time. All right, so I posted on Facebook that I want someone to give me their answer to the question I left you all with last lesson. about why do we constantly do the same thing? Why do we constantly slip back into those same habits, those same responses when we think that we want to change, we want to move forward? What's going on there? So, who wants to give me your answer? Is Christy here? Christy's not here, is she? She gave a pretty good answer. All right, I'm going to pick on somebody. Susie. Susie, are you there? Can you see Susie? Mara? Or is she frozen?
I'm looking.
I thought that was her down there.
No, there she is, but she is frozen. So Susie, I can unmute her and we'll see if she can come through.
Okay.
Susie, are you there? Yeah, I think she might be frozen.
Okay. All right. Robert, you're up. You're up.
Okay. Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So you're asking why we tend to repeat these behaviors as we go forward?
Yeah, remember I asked, I basically what I was saying was, why do we continue to fall back? Why are we, what's happening to us that we can't control? There's some compulsive tendencies that we have. Why can't we stop that?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with, just behavioral conditioning, the things that we've gone through our whole life experiences. So you've got this behavior you keep repeating over and over again. Like some of us are 40 and 50 years old. So you've got a set pattern in your mind, a neurological pattern that you keep falling into because it's just comfortable, right? Even though if it's self-destructive. And it takes focused, concentrated thought to change behavior. Some people say you can change the behavior in like 30 days, but when you have an ingrained behavior of, like with me, it's I was beating up on myself, right? It's easy to fall back into that, even though like we try to change that as we go down, through our time forward. Eventually things come up and you're like, oh, here I go again. And you start beating yourself up again, or you're doing the bad behavior, you start drinking or whatever it is. That vice may be that you start just repeating it. And you said, well, why am I doing that? And like, well, it's just like go-to, right? And it's going to take focused effort to change that neurological pattern within you to actually make that a new behavior and a new go-to. And that's hard because you've got years of programming that you've gone through and repetitive behavior. So it definitely takes change. And the meditation seems to help, but even when we think we've got something beat, like you said, these lessons keep coming up to see if we've actually, beaten that, if you will, or changed that behavior. And more often than not, we find that we have to a point, but we still fall back into that behavior. And it's like another milestone saying, okay, so I got more work to do. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's cool. I mean, it was interesting. My next question to you was going to be, well, how do we change it? And you gave me the answer. You're right. It is all patterning. It is all, some of you wrote, it's that we're addicted to the dopamine rush that we get, whether it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's the anger, whether it's going shopping, whether it's, whatever vice we have, whether it's beating up on ourselves, like you said, we have a certain rush and this is pattern and we're addicted to that dopamine and how we get it. And you are right. It takes a concentrated effort to do that, to change. But before the concentrated effort to change, it takes one very, very, very important thing. Does anybody know what that is? Robert, do you know what it is?
The wanting to change.
What?
I think the wanting to change. You've got to want to change. Otherwise, it'll never happen.
Right. Okay. So I pose this to all of you. Everyone here wants to change. Everyone here that I know of wants to change and grow. We've already had the homing signal go off inside. We've already had something spark that desire. Now you are all warriors of light, and you're going up against an entire global society, which the majority, number one, is unaware. They're still asleep. And then you've got the ones that are aware and already think they know it all. Okay? And then you got those that are aware but don't have the desire yet. And then you have those that have the desire who are seeking. So how easy is it going to be for us to affect this change? Anybody? Mara.
Actually, not particularly easy. And I have seen this over and over and over again. And I get, like all of you, I bet I get frustrated. But then I have found this thing lately, when I just am the thing, it makes more difference. I can't even talk. It makes a bigger difference. Like just working on me makes the biggest difference around me.
Because you're vibrating that out and you feel centered and grounded. And
it's like we're just like the crystals. Like if we don't, nobody, I gave one out in front of my partner on Sunday. He doesn't believe in them. And it was the most beautiful thing because he could not stand to not see what it was that I was doing, and then took a picture of me with that gal. And she was glowing. You all, I don't know if you saw the picture, but she was glowing. And I just looked at him and I said, it doesn't matter whether you believe Sir Edward puts an angel in this crystal or not. You saw the joy with which she accepted it. And like, it was amazing because he got to see it instead of me telling him.
So all of that is absolutely true. It is not going to be easy. And on the flip side of that, Sir Edward has made it easy now.
Mm-hmm.
Because before, we thought we had to have 144,000 of all of you who are where you are and have the desire and are working. Now, we just need us, and in our hot mess selves, we don't have it all together 24/7, and that's okay. Because even when we don't have it together 24/7, we can take that crystal and we can go out and inside of this has been charged and assigned an archangel. So this becomes that warrior of light. And we can just go here and elicit that change. So it is that easy. But I just want you all to know and really totally understand, comprehend what we're up against. When we have, Sean, what you're going through with your stepdaughter, what I'm going through with my grandson, what we're going through with the peripheral people in our lives, and times that exponentially. So we have to be patient with ourselves. Elaine, we can't doubt ourselves. We have to have faith in our ability. We have to know who we are. And we have to be confident in the fact that we are that change. Just like Mara said, we are the change. And when we hand out that crystal, even if we're not vibrating perfectly in the moment we're handing it out, as soon as we make that exchange, something comes over us. Because we've just done something so powerful, we can't even comprehend it. Sir Edward and I talk about that all the time. Our comprehension and understanding, level of understanding, is so exponentially growing in every moment. It's just like the internet. And I don't have the data exactly to explain this, but I know we've talked about this before, but the internet is folding over on itself in every millisecond. It's expanding and expanding and expanding. Each time you type something in, the data grows and grows and grows. So the internet that used to be teeny, 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 tiny has now become unfathomably large, just like the universe. And P.S., it is a universe in of itself. It's a virtual reality. It is a world you can go to. It's just as real as the world you're sitting in, wherever you are in this world. And it's all done through energy. Fascinating. So, with that said, does anyone have any other questions or comments they would like to make before we go further? Johnny, can you unmute? There you go.
Yes, can you hear me? Okay, so yesterday I found out that my phone that I bought that was such a great deal on eBay through an AT&T supplied person turned out to be stolen. So it turned into a brick. Went to the AT&T store and thought maybe I just missed the bill or something. All right, no problem. It's stolen. I'll get that. So I go home, change the SIM cards out, and it's about 5 o'clock or so. And I really wanted to go to a concert. And I had this feeling in my head that people are trying to get out to me. Well, I went to the tennis courts instead because I just thought no one was calling me. Turns out my phone was dead. The SIM card needed activated again because of that. Told my coworkers or whatever, and they were just like, I would have been so upset because all I did was go to the Apple store, figured out what was going on, and we got it taken care of. Basically, the phone's going to be fine. It's going to be, I'll get a return on it because I'm not going to mess with it anyways. But I told a person the week before that I really wasn't liking the phone. Really didn't like it, and I would have returned it. But, I'm stuck with it, and that's the way it is. And it gave me an out because now it was reported stolen, or I don't want to go through that again. But the message was that all of that drama was happening. I didn't get angry, didn't get upset, stayed within myself. And my coworkers were like, if that was me, I would have been totally upset, screaming, kicking, hollering, and everything. And I'm like, there's nothing that you can do that isn't going to control yourself. It's going to happen no matter what you think and what's going on. So it reverts all the way back to how we began this whole session about how we think and what we're actually out here doing. So I thought it was pretty neat.
It
be
is.
able to
It's a transformation. It's an awareness. It's because, okay, you have these problems. You got this problems all piled up right here. And if you get angry about it, now you got a bunch of problems. But you got these problems, and if you laugh them off, it's no big deal. I think it's funny. We had to come back from our vacation because Michaela had a soccer tournament, and I'm sitting on the sideline, and somebody's big canopy came over and hit me right on the elbow. I don't know if you can see it, but actually it's pretty good. Thought I broke my elbow, and I'm just sitting there. Somebody got me ice. I'm like, I'm okay. People thought I was going to sue the place. They thought I was going to be mad at the woman who left her canopy there. I'm like, it could happen to anybody. Big deal. It's cool. Leave the field. On our way back to vacation, I get pulled over by a cop because I'm doing 12 miles over the limit. $90 ticket. I'm sorry, officer. So the same thing. And when I told my friend this, they're like, gosh, are you so upset? I mean, isn't it blah, 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 just going off on me. And I'm like, why? It's all beautiful. I see the getting pulled over by the cop as it saved me from an accident down the road. I don't really understand the elbow thing yet, but it's all good. But that's just it. It's all good. We're all good. And if each and every one of us keep saying to ourselves, we're all good, we're all love, then like your coworkers, Johnny, and my friend, they're going to feel that we're all good and we're all love. And that's why we're here. It is just about trying to get ourselves centered and being who we say we want to be. And that is how we stop those compulsive things that we talked about earlier. Be who you say you want to be. And don't beat yourself up when you fail, because it'll happen too. So with that said, we are at 6:01. I'm going to go ahead and close off the evening. And I would like you all to just start to take some nice deep breaths. Bring yourself grounded and centered in this space. Dear Mother, Father, God, creator of all things, we are in such gratitude to you. The blessings you have bestowed tonight in the sharing of love and light, in the angst, the gifts, the gratitude. We are truly humbled by your presence and honored that we can help spread this light, each and every one of us allowing that spark to emanate through our heart to all around. We thank you for your assistance. All the archangels in attendance tonight, the 4 directions for holding sacred space, and all the ascended masters, Eru, Sophia, the Hierophant. Thank you for joining us and sharing your gifts with this gathering. Please bless and protect each and every one of us. Continue to share your divine light and wisdom and love, extending to each of us the courage that we need to see through the days ahead with honor and grace. And so it is, and so we are, and so it shall be. Amen. Alrighty, everyone, bring yourself back to this space and time. Open your eyes when you're ready and enjoy your next 2 weeks. May God bless.